Are you working in a 9 to 5 like I do? Do you ever find yourself toying with the idea of quitting? Today we'll continue our exploration of diagrams. This is the first video of a two-part mini-series. In this episode, I'll introduce the futures wheel to help us explore the possible impacts and consequences of quitting. In the next part, we'll develop a sun ray transformation map, turning our observations into an actionable roadmap. Hey, my name is Zsolt. Welcome to Visual PKM. The futures wheel is a simple method for thinking through the primary, secondary, and tertiary consequences of trends, events, emerging issues, and future decisions. It was invented in 1971 by Jerome C. Glenn, then a student at the Antioch University of New England. Since then, the futures wheel has been picked up by futurists, corporate planners, policymakers, and advisors worldwide to identify potential problems and opportunities and to assess tactics and strategies. Let's start by adding our focus scenario, quitting my job, in the center. I will then draw three concentric ellipses representing primary, secondary, and tertiary impacts or consequences of this scenario. The further out the ellipses, the more speculative our statements will be. Think with me. What would happen 2 or 3 months after you've actually quit? What are the most likely primary impacts or consequences of your decision? It's lucky that I have a time machine in my living room. Let's hop in and travel into the future to find out. Right after we quit, we'd immediately lose our steady income along with any employee benefits we may enjoy today. This will inevitably lead to some level of anxiety as the uncertainty of the next paycheck kicks in and as we start to tap into our savings. But there's also an upside, the reason we wanted to quit in the first place. We'd have more free time to do what we really want with our time. Plus, even if the company and boss you work for isn't per se hostile and is not forcing you to spend your weekends and evenings working, you will likely feel that office work is toxic, simply because you're spending the prime of your life working on things that aren't 100% aligned with your passion. Hopefully you're working on something that you find interesting, but even then, chances are that there are tasks and projects that do not fill you with energy. You just do them because they come with the job. Thus, you will likely experience an emotional relief from a toxic work environment. However, quitting will also likely lead to a, let's hope temporary, identity crisis, since the job you've been doing for the past 10, 20, maybe more years is suddenly gone. Additionally, not having a steady job or giving up a prestigious career can lead to loss of status and a change in social perception. Finally, while you might have disliked your employer, you will surely miss at least some of your coworkers, the social atmosphere of the office. At this point, you might think I'm not optimistic enough. I won't debate that, but I believe this is the sober reality. Apart from the free time and emotional relief, there isn't much going for quitting, at least not on the short term. But let's turn the clock arm in our time machine to half year after you've quit your job. Let's forget the original scenario at the very center of our diagram and instead think about impacts and consequences we collected on the first ring. What could be some of the consequences or impacts of each of the primary impacts? Well, the loss of a steady income will likely lead to decreased financial stability and will also require some financial adjustments, such as eating out less frequently, canceling some subscriptions, and maybe not going on expensive holidays. Loss of the steady income and the loss of employee benefits will mean we had to tap into our savings, which may also impact our retirement planning. Notice how a particular secondary impact may be influenced by multiple primary ones. But of course, this is just one side of the coin. You'll surely engage in a search for some additional income. With all this free time on your hands, you will think about starting a business or some other form of self-employment, which in turn will likely require you to invest more of your time into self-development and reflection. After all, if you start a business, you'll likely need new skills, and you'll need all that reflection to ensure that you do not pick a next career that does not fully align with your passions. Once you're done mapping out the secondary impacts, you can move on to the tertiary impacts. Hopping back into our time machine, let's travel 5 or 10 years into the future. Continuing on the financial impacts, decreased financial stability and financial adjustments may likely have a knock-on impact on your dependents, such as your children, your spouse, or your parents. Financial instability could also strain your relationships. Self-employment will result in a shift in your career path and hopefully result in a new professional identity. Self-development will help you nurture new talents and interests. In the positive scenario, your change will improve your long-term health outlook and lead to a more fulfilling life. Spending more time with friends and family will improve your relationships, and all of this will add up to a change in lifestyle. But let's take a step back and look at our diagram. As you can see, not everything looks rosy. One way to differentiate threats from opportunities is to color them. I will quickly change all the threats and negative outcomes to red. Alternatively, you could create two wheels for two scenarios. One would be the happy scenario, the other your doomsday scenario. Looking at these two wheels side by side can be very instructional in identifying gaps and mitigations. While the futures wheel is a simple enough tool for plotting future scenarios, there's also a risk. We do not have a crystal ball. The wheel is no better than the collective judgment of those involved in creating it. One way you could counterbalance this inherent weakness of the tool is to use ChatGPT-4 to read and critique your work. I can simply copy the image of my futures wheel to the clipboard by exporting the selected elements as a PNG to the clipboard and pasting it to GPT-4 and requesting GPT-4 to challenge the diagram and highlight gaps or logical errors in my thinking. This way, ChatGPT can function as an unbiased third party, providing feedback on your work and ideas. Finally, before we close, I wanted to show you how you can start to branch out from this map by converting some or all of the impacts to their own Obsidian nodes. By simply modifying the text "starting a business" into a Wiki link, the text element becomes a link. If I now navigate to this link, I can create an empty page or drawing, one that is linked to my futures wheel, and start brainstorming business ideas. In the next video, we'll look at extracting some overarching themes from our map and to create a roadmap of actions using the Sun Ray Transformation Map. I hope you found this short video insightful. I'd love to hear what you think. What elements would you add to your futures wheel about quitting? Are there any elements you strongly disagree with? Please share in the comments. Finally, if you found this video helpful, be sure to check out the recommended videos in the description. Click subscribe and like, as that will help others find this video as well. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.